Hey, there you are. What's up, everyone? Look at that, 220. That's nice, isn't it? 220 classes with me. Well, mainly with me, maybe about 10 or 15 with other people. But if it's your first time, where have you been? We've been here for like 5 years now. It's really nice to have you along. If you are new, then a wholehearted welcome. Thank you for joining the Virtual Village Hall. Lots and lots of content on this channel, right? Including my yoga, which is always at 2:30 on a Thursday. And I do chair yoga on a Monday or a Tuesday usually as well. And those times change a little bit. So if you like chair yoga, you can join me on that. And if you want to do some of this class on the chair, you help yourself, because a lot of it can be done on a chair. We get half an hour, so not a huge amount of time, but enough time, right? Enough time to kind of work through the body, have a look at our breath, see how we're doing. And then hopefully after half an hour, we go off, right? And we just, take a little bit of stock and go, how was that for us? The idea that our yoga practice needs to be super complicated, the idea that our yoga class has to be, super physical, that it has to always evolve and change, right? It doesn't. I think there's a lot of wisdom in just coming back to the same things. It's not kind of like the variety of stuff that you do, it's how you do it that is the most important thing. And when I see success, and I would class success is an odd word, right? But when I see people getting into a regular steady practice, it's because they've made their practice kind of adaptable for themselves. So you practice doing things that you like to do. So you might take a few of these things, you might hate some of the stuff that I do. That's okay, right? You'll go, I don't want to do some of that stuff, but I want to do more of that stuff, right? So build your own practice, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, right? And then try and build that into your day. Get a routine, a healthy routine, especially this time of the year, because it's dark and it's a bit dank outside and it's a bit, isn't it, right? So if you can move a little bit, spend a little bit of time in here, settling everything down, then I think there's a huge amount of benefit from that. I really do. But don't feel like it's got to be lots and lots and lots, right? It doesn't. It really doesn't. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to spend a little bit of time, moving. You don't have to be super strong. You don't have to be super flexible. You don't have to be this. You don't have to be that. You're perfect as you are. And I really believe that. And it's not just like yoga teacher speak, someone coming on and going, oh, love and light, you're perfect as you are. Generally speaking, you are. So hello to Margaret. Hello to Irene. It's nice to have you along. Anyone else out there? All right, how you doing? Get yourself a brew if you can, a drink of water, right? I'm going to go back there onto my mat, and we're going to do a little bit of yoga, right? It doesn't have to be super complicated. Cheers to you all. Right, I'm going to shuffle back. In fact, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to stand up and go back here. I'm going to sit on a blanket, right? If you practice with me a lot, I like to do that. I like to bring a lot of comfort into my practice, Here we go. All right, so come with the legs crossed. If you can, remember, as I said, you can sit in a chair for this part, or if this doesn't feel great, then sit any way that feels good for you. You might lean up against a wall, right? You might bring a bit of length into your spine that way. Bring your hands onto your knees. And I do this, I just bring the palms up. Now, we can have a little look at mudras today. Mudras are just hand positions, or mudras. So you can bring the thumb and the forefinger together, just like that. Right, a little bit of a connection, and maybe close your eyes. But if you don't like closing your eyes, because some people don't, and that's perfectly reasonable, if you don't like doing it, then just soften your gaze. But I feel, okay closing my eyes. I'm here in my, flat, and I feel safe. So no one's going to walk in on me or kind of disturb my practice. And then with that little hand position, that mudra, this is called Gyan mudra. It's one that we use quite a lot. You might just, I'm grinning here, but, go with me on this one. Just feel the subtlety of the touch between your thumb and your forefinger. It might be a little bit of movement, right, between those 2 points of contact, the thumb and the forefinger. And you might be thinking, well, that's pretty pointless. It's not. It's just noticing the subtlety of your body. And then maybe you notice the rest of your body, right? You might start at the crown of the head, On an exhale, you might draw the attention down towards your feet. On an inhale, you might bring the attention back up to the crown of the head. So as you do this, you scan your body, but then you notice how your breath feels within your body, right? You just be a little bit curious and check all of that out. And this is probably something that you don't do a lot of unless you've got a regular steady practice, which I know a lot of you do have. But again, if you're relatively new, then just sitting and breathing can feel a little bit odd, right? But this is what we do all the time, but we're just bringing a little bit of consciousness into it. We're aware. And then maybe notice the quality of your mind. You know, notice the thoughts. They might come, they might go. Your mind might be racing. It might feel really chilled out. But generally for me, especially when I practice on a Thursday with you guys, you know, I generally feel quite relaxed. You know, I try and relax before I teach, and then I just notice what's going on. I've actually just been watching Michael McIntyre, which I don't watch a lot of, but it makes me laugh. And also, it's a feel-good program, right? Just feels positive. All right. If your eyes are closed, then come with your eyes open. And just give your fingers a little shake out. And then if you want to move from here, if you're in a chair, you might have a little shuffle around. If you're with me down on the floor, maybe lean back into the hands. Have a quick look which shin's in front. It's always my left, first of all. And then just drop your knees side to side. We'll do plenty of stuff seated today. We'll do a little bit of breath work as well. And just reflect on where you practice, you know. Hopefully you find a practice space that feels really good for you. You know, I like practicing in my flat. It feels nice. You know, I can kind of set the tone, the heat. And I've got a nice little candle going, sandalwood. All right. So you build your own little, I don't know, little sanctuary of space where you can practice. Okay, let's do a little bit of breath work. And we'll do a little bit of breath of fire today. Okay, so let's practice this because we don't do it a lot. It's quite a forceful breath. It's quite a powerful breath. There's lots of different ways to do it. If you don't like a breath of fire and you know it, then just do a long, deep breath. But you might join me with it. So bring your right hand onto your belly and then exhale through your nose, but do it short. Imagine you've got a fly stuck up your nose. Exhale like that. So you exhale, 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 exhale. The inhale is coming in, but you're not conscious of it. I don't want you to worry about the inhale because you will do it. It's kind of like automatic. Do that again just for a few rounds. And maybe close the eyes on this one and forceful exhale, passive inhale. Inhale, and then exhale. And then bring your right hand onto your knees, and then, or your knee, bring your palms face up and just check in, right? Notice how that feels. It's called Kapalabhati breathing or skull shining breath, right? When we come into a nice rhythm with it, it can sort of bring the attention up here, and it kind of gets us out of that sort of like FUD that we're sometimes in, you know, especially at 2:30 in the afternoon, you can feel quite low of energy. So these breath practices, they're ancient, right? They've been around for thousands of years and there's a lot of wisdom in them. So when I feel kind of low and I feel a bit stuck, I'll do a little breath of fire. So let's do another few rounds, or let's do one more round. I'm going to go a little bit quicker. You may join me with that quick rhythm, or you can come back to very slow or kind of that medium sort of rhythm that we've just done. All right. I'm going to do something different here. So why don't we use another mudra? We'll do this one called Gyan mudra, where the hands are together. You press your thumbs into your sternum. So this is a heart-based mudra, right? It encourages the spine to lengthen. And then I'm going to use that breath of fire. I'm going to exhale forcefully. I'm going to inhale passively. My belly's just going to pump in and out. Try not to overthink it. Try not to kind of tense too much here. So nice deep inhale to begin. And then start your breath of fire, or a long deep breath if it doesn't work for you. When you're ready, take a deep inhale. And then pause the breath at the top. Squeeze the belly up, squeeze the belly in. Focus at the crown of the head. Everything else is nice and relaxed. And then exhale, let the breath go, and then you can bring the hands down. And then one final time before we move a bit more, maybe bring the palms so they're face up onto the knees, maybe close the eyes and soften the gaze, and just check in with that breath rhythm. You know, for me, there's a little bit of energy in my body now. All right, when you're ready, take an inhale just to sweep the arms all the way up. Do it nice and slowly. Hands come above the head. Nice. As you exhale, bring the left hand onto the right knee and the right hand behind. Inhale to find length. And then exhale into your twist. 2 more rounds like that. Nice deep inhale. Take a full exhale. And then one more time. Your deepest inhale. And your fullest exhale. Beautiful. Take an inhale. Sweep the arms all the way up. Nice. Exhale, twist to the left. So right hand, left knee, left hand behind. Inhale to find length. Exhale into your twist. One more like that. Nice deep, rich inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. Inhale, come back to center. Keep the hands low and then just walk the hands forward. I'm not asking you to come down very far here. Maybe just claw into the fingers. Rotate the pelvis forward. And you come into a little forward bend, right? So you might stay here. We did it last week with the spine nice and long. But if you feel everything's okay in the lower spine, you might drop the head down. Remember, if you're in a chair, you can do this. You can walk your hands onto the edge of your knees and maybe just forward fold or drop the hands down towards your ankles, you know, like we do when we do sun salutations in the chair on a Monday and Tuesday. Breathe gently here. A couple more rounds of breath. And then when you feel ready, walk the hands back, all the way back, lean back into the hands, separate your feet, and then just drop your knees from side to side again. Beautiful. Really nice work. All right, bring the other shin in front. Lovely. And then just that little bit more work into our neck. So bring the hands onto the knees, drop your chin down, and then just rock your chin a little side to side. So subtlety, right? More than anything, just little movements. If you feel okay and you want to do a complete circle, then go for it, you know, nice and slowly. Circle your head out, pick a direction. Maybe inhaling up, maybe exhaling as the chin just falls down. And then you can come back in the opposite direction. On one side or one direction might feel a little bit different to the other. A couple more complete circles if that's how you're moving. Don't have to. Never work too hard through the head and the neck. Inhale, come back to center. And then take a full exhale. Beautiful. From here, we'll come onto all fours. So again, if you want to, it's a good opportunity to take a drink. This time of year, it's nice to practice with a warm drink, right? All right. I'm going to remove my blanket out of the way. If you're in a chair, you probably, if you can, join us, or you can always do some of this stuff again, sat in a chair. So we're going to do cat-cow. You can do that in a chair. Inhale, drop your belly down. Lift your head, lift your heart. As you exhale, around your spine. You can see you can do it in a few ways. You can tuck your toes under, or you can be on the tops of your feet. It's your choice. So these movements, you inhale, drop the belly down. Lift your head, lift your heart. You exhale, you round into the spine. So it's just these kind of opposing movements. Couple more. Inhale, come back to center. And then as normal, just fall back into a child's pose. So you split your knees a little bit wider, probably. And then settle yourself down onto your mat. You can bring your head onto a block or onto your hands, or you can be like me and have your head directly on the floor or on your mat. It's your choice. And see if you can find some very deep breaths here. Maybe your deepest breaths of the class so far. Couple more rounds of breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, come all the way back to all fours. In fact, let's do this. Bring the hands back towards the knees and then just press yourself up. And see if you can just sit on your heels just for a breath or two. Right? You might bring the hands down. You might have the hands at heart center. This is a good stretch through the ankles, right? Especially if you're not used to sitting like this. If it doesn't feel great, then you can come back onto all fours. But if you're with me, just take a couple more breaths. And then sometimes we access those tighter parts of our body, and we're all tight in different places, right? We've all lived in our bodies in different ways. So let's see how this goes. And then from here, come back to all fours. And then give your right leg a really big stretch out. And keep it lifted today. Yeah, lift out through the right leg. We're not going to do anything more than this. In fact, why don't we do this actually? Why don't we just bend into the knee? The right knee's bent. And then you can just move the right knee down and move the right knee up. Right? That's quite a big movement, right? And then if you wanted to, you can maybe pick a direction and draw some circles with your knee. You know, just go around. I'm going to go from the inside to the outside, and then I'll go from the outside to the inside. So I just kind of swap that out. So it's really good for hip mobility. These don't have to be big movements, remember. Nice. And then let's lengthen out through the right leg again, and then stretch the right toes out, spin them out. Nice. And then spin the left knee off your mat. So it's a little kickstand. So that's the movement. And then inhale the right arm up. Nice. So in this adapted side plank, I think it's a really lovely shape to be in. Inhaling, exhaling as you go. Nice big spread out through the left fingers, stacking the shoulders, right? Nice, everyone. And then if you wanted to, maybe circle the right arm out. We do this quite a lot, but I think it's a really nice place to be. Kind of finding that mobility through our shoulders, making sure that, you know, we're not getting too tight in those areas. And then maybe come back in the opposite direction just a few times. Beautiful. Nice. And then the one final thing, you can bring the right arm up and you can stay if you want, or you can lift up through the right leg, right? So a little bit more physical. So it might be for you, it might not. It's your choice. It's a balance, right? Enjoy it. If you fall out, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just a little bit of playful movement. Exhale, come back to center, and then it's nice to even your spine up. So inhale, drop your belly down, lift your head, lift your heart. Exhale, round your spine. Beautiful. Nice. Inhale, come back to center. This time, bring the left leg out, bend into the left knee, and then just start by bringing the left knee really close to the floor, and then bringing the left knee up. So just a little pulse through that leg. And then you might draw some circles. So I'm going to go from inner to outer. So external rotation, first of all. And then I'll come back the other way, outer to inner, right? So I'll just turn the direction of travel. Your speed, right? Eventually lengthen out through the left leg, turn the left toe to the long left edge of your mat, and you're going to be facing the other way. Spin the right leg out this time, and then inhale the left arm up. So this is our adapted side plank. See if you can really engage with that left leg press into the outer edge of the left foot. And then you can do the nice circle through the arms. Circle the arm out. Maybe inhale as the arm comes up, maybe exhale as the arm comes down, and then you can swap it out, come back the other way. I like to work with a relaxed neck, so I don't like to kind of bring too much movement into my head in these movements. And then you can rejoin us here, left arm lifted, and you can stay here or you can lift out through the left leg. So you get a little balance. As you exhale, come back to center. Nice, lovely. This time what we'll do is we'll just tuck our toes and we'll come into downward facing dog. All right, lift your hips, come into down dog. Give the knees a nice generous bend, lengthen your spine. You might come really high up on your toes. You might exhale as you soften the heels further down towards the floor. And whatever feels good for you. And then if you can do, take an inhale and come into plank. So press into your toes, ripple forward, come into plank. So you're in this kind of shape, right? Looking down between the hands. As you exhale, drop your knees. Soften the tops of the feet to the floor. And very, very slowly, like super slowly, lower to the floor. Keep the elbows tracking backwards, not spraying outwards. You eventually arrive on your belly. And then today, why don't we walk the fingers nice and wide? See that? Right off my mat. Press the tops of the feet into the floor again. And then inhale, just a tiny little lift. As you exhale, bring the forehead down. Engage the tops of the feet, the pelvis. Inhale. Lift the chest. Exhale. Forehead down. And then one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And then from here, we're going to bring ourselves back to all fours. So engage onto the knees. Bring yourself back to all fours. As you exhale, lift the hips. Come back into downward facing dog. Breathe it out in your down dog. And then from here, we're going to come to the top of our mats. There's loads of ways to do this, right? I do one step on one leg and then the other. You might do it in a few steps. You might hop forward, right? So what I will do on an exhale, I'll just step one foot forward, then the other, and I'll go very wide with my feet. I'll take an inhale to lengthen my spine. As I exhale, I'll just kind of hang and I'll bend my knees and I'll just come into a forward fold. So we haven't got a huge amount of time to do this stuff. So just kind of work out what you need here. Try not to lengthen your legs. Let the head be nice and loose like this. The shoulders loose, sway around. There's no prizes for straight legs, remember. Come back to center if you were moving like me, and then take an inhale, come back to a flat back. Draw the hands up towards the shins or the thighs, roll the shoulders back. Exhale to hinge and fold, and then root down through the feet. Inhale, come all the way up. So you come to stand for the first time, and then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. So you're in Tadasana, right? Palms face forward. This is mountain pose. Engage into the four corners of the feet, relax your shoulders. Feel that kind of stability, but there's also a little bit of movement, right? So you don't have to be super still. A little flex in the knees, maybe. All right, when you're ready with the palms face forward, inhale, reach up towards the sky. As you exhale, hinge and fold and come all the way back down into your forward fold. Inhale to lengthen your spine, come up halfway. Exhale, hands down. Just step your right foot back, nice and big with the step, and then drop the right knee. Pad it out if you need to. Inhale, sweep the arms up, and we don't have to get too fussy here, but we're in a low lunge. Left knee, left ankle lined up. Inhale, I find length. Exhale, I sink. So there's a little dance between the two parts of the breath. Inhale, I'll lift a little. Exhale, I'll sink a little. It's kind of a nice massage through that right hip flexor. Take one more round. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down. Tuck the toes on your right leg. Lift the right knee. And then see if you can step back to a plank. Right? It's a good place to be. In plank, take an inhale. We've already been here before. You can drop the knees or you can exhale lower with the knees lifted. But try and do it nice and slowly. Inhale into cobra. Nice. Exhale into downward facing dog. When you're ready, bend your knees, hinge your hips up between your hands, and then gently step through. There's no right and wrong way to do that, by the way. As long as the feet are nicely lined up, inhale to a flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms high and wide. Exhale, hands to your heart. Beautiful. All right. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. This time, left leg back. Pad it out if you need to. Lower the left knee. Nice generous bend in the right leg. Ankle and foot are lined up. Inhale. And then come all the way up. I should say ankle and knee are lined up, but the foot's lined up as well, right? Same thing again. Inhale to find length. Maybe relax your shoulders. Exhale to sink. Beautiful. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. And then final time. Inhale. And exhale. This time, bring the hands down. Step your right knee back to meet your left. Split the knees wide. Come into your child's pose. Settle down. Take a few breaths. Second time we've been here. And certainly now, let the body be still and take your deepest breaths of the class. Maybe reflect on how you're feeling now compared to how you were right at the start of the class. And then from here, same thing again, walk the hands back towards the knees. And then we're going to finish in a seated position today. So I'm going to come forward a little bit. But for you, if you really find that distasteful and you're like, I don't want to sit at the end, feel free to lie down. I'm just going to do, if I can find it, a little reading. So settle yourself down. I'm not going to be able to find it now, I'm sure. Maybe bring a little bit of length back into your spine. There we go. Bring your hands onto your knees. Noticing the effects of your practice. So we find that still point within our body again. And then we get this opportunity now just to reflect and to thank ourselves, right, for getting this far, for committing to your practice and, just being curious. As I said at the start, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be super long or, anything really. Just practice for practice sake. It's important. All right, maybe keeping your eyes closed. I'm going to read this beautiful reading by J. Tsongkhapa, which is a Tibetan teacher that lived from 1357 to 1419. And his words, well, they're as relevant now to ever. And this is that beautiful card, which is Norman Blair's cat with the words "wake up" underneath, right? It's kind of cool. So this human birth is precious, an opportunity to awaken. But this body is impermanent, ready or not, one day I shall die. So this life I must now as the tiny splash of a raindrop, a thing of beauty that disappears even as it comes into being. The karma I create shapes the course of my life. But however I act, life has its inevitable difficulties. No one can control it all. Only the truth can free me and others from suffering forever. Therefore, I recall my heart's longing for freedom and resolve to make use of every day and night to realize it. Maybe softening your hands to your heart center. One final time just to notice the effects of your practice. And then with a wholehearted bow, wishing yourself well, wishing everybody else well. Namaste. Thank you guys. And Lisa, well done for practicing, especially from your sit bed, right? Hopefully it did the trick, not to work too hard, but to bring a little bit of movement in. I think that can be really useful. Remember the resources, beautiful book, Brightening Our Inner Skies by Norman Blair. He's not asked me to advertise his book, obviously, but this is a beautiful book. Yin yoga, right? Fantastic. It's got really good pictorial diagrams and some lovely practice in there. So that's yin yoga, right? And then this is also his stuff, which is his wake up stuff. So Norman Blair, or Yoga with Norman, if you wanted to check him out. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, as is the Virtual Village Hall, as you know. So stay connected. It's also on YouTube. That's where I get my content, and check out the content every week. And I said last week, this is such an important time of the year, right? As we go from one season to the next. I know we've been in autumn for a month, but as the clocks have gone back, right? Have they gone back or forward? They went back, right? So we get much darker nights, and some of us suffer from seasonal affective disorder, or we just feel a bit low in mood, right? Because it's March is a long way away, but we don't want to skip through it, right? Sometimes we're like, oh my word, what about I don't mind this time of year, but by the time February comes, I'm like, I really want it to get lighter. But we don't want to skip through life, right? As it just said, what was the final bit of this? It said, therefore, I recall my heart's longing for freedom and resolve to make use of every day and night to realize it. So we've got all this time together. Check out all the other instructors on this amazing channel. There's so much good content, and thank you to the Virtual Village Hall as ever for hosting me, and for you guys for joining, because it honestly is one of my favorite classes of the week, and it's an absolute pleasure to practice with you all over this virtual media, right? It works in some way, doesn't it? Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Margaret. Thanks, Lisa. Anyone else out there? Fantastic stuff, everyone. And I'll catch you all next week. Chair yoga, and then we get a bit more of this next Thursday. All right, everyone, I'm going to go now. Take care. Bye now.